On Blitz, we have head coach Justin Pollock of the Tallulah Falls Indians state runner-up team. And fantastic season, Coach. Thank you so much for being on Blitz. Let's talk about the season. You go 27-12, state runner-up finish. How special, if you can put it in words, how special was this year?
It was incredible. Just to see where we started to where we came, to where we ended up. And that's sort of been my message to people who have asked me this week how I feel about things and how I feel about the season. And obviously, if you only think about Friday, you'd be disappointed. But when I look back to some of our guys 3 years ago and even the beginning of this year, it's just, I can't be more proud of what they're becoming as men and as baseball players. And so just my word for looking back on this year is just proud.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's well documented at this point how the team embraced the playing for Jeremy, and you guys had the shirts under the jersey all season. If you can kind of talk about that and what role that played in the success of this year.
I think our guys were definitely inspired this season to play for something bigger than themselves, and you always want that, but we were able to just have something this year to rally around. And I think it was, I mean, when Jeremy got here, just to think that, we gave him the number 4 when he got here, and just how it kind of worked out that was his number. I mean, there were probably other numbers available, but for whatever reason, that was the number that he was given, and so that was it just kind of fits that it was for Jeremy, at the end of the day. So I was just proud of how our guys just chose to honor him through the way they play and through the kind of teammates they were every day. Just really embodied like who he was as a player. So that was definitely something that just made this season and this story just so special for us.
Yeah, I think as you worded it, it's a story only God could write,
Yeah.
which is pretty fitting.
Yeah.
Now the playoff run in general was just nuts. I mean, I know you beat 9 state-ranked teams this year, and I think most of those were in the playoffs, and you had all kinds of dramatic endings and delays and all kinds of stuff like that. But it really, when you think about the Sweet 16, that 11th inning walk-off hit,
Yeah.
talk about how maybe that propelled the rest of the series, the rest of the postseason.
Well, I'll be honest. I was really, really nervous that first round against Oglethorpe because, I mean, obviously we were coming off 2 losses. It was a very short turnaround. Our pitchers only had 3 days rest, and I knew they were probably better than their records showed. But we were able to come out right away from the first pitch of that game and set the tone. And so, to me, it's a testament to our guys and our players. Like, we can stand up in front of them and say, you got to have a short memory and all this stuff, but really it's up to them. And we've said from the jump this year that, if we're going to do anything in the postseason, it's got to be player-led. And I didn't really even realize how valuable that was, because when you get in, just how busy the schedule is and you're doing so many things, like your players have to be leaders at that time of year, because you're not, you don't have time to do all the administrative stuff and then at the end of the day still try to motivate and push the right buttons. We didn't have to do that with this group at all. In fact, we said probably less during the playoffs than we said all year. But yeah, for that particular comeback win against Pepperell, I mean, we were on the mat. We were down 6-2 in the bottom of the 6th, and you start thinking about what you're going to be doing next week. It's like, but our guys, I mean, Roach had a homer, and then we just kept chipping away, and Caden got that big hit finally. I mean, it felt like that game would never end. I mean, it was getting late, but nobody better to get that walk-off hit than Caden Walker, because he's worked so hard for us for these last 3 years.
And you go back to, you mentioned the Athens Christian. I mean, that was a disappointing way to end the regular season and have a region title right there, and for them to kind of steal it from you. But what was your message to the team? Because it was almost like y'all had amnesia after that and forgot about it and just moved on.
Yeah, I kind of have amnesia too. I don't really remember a whole lot about what I said after that game, but no one was happy. It wasn't going to be. I don't think I could have stood out there that night and said, "Hey, cheer up" and all that kind of stuff, and it would have been fine. I think it needed to sting for a minute, honestly. But I think one thing that was big was we didn't have a lot of time to worry about it. I just remember we got back in here on Sunday afternoon, and we hit, and it was somber at first. It was quiet, and then as we started hitting and they were around each other for about 30 minutes, the mood just picked up, and by the end of it, it had been about an hour and a half, and it just felt like, the same old group. Yeah, it was behind us by that point in time. So I just think getting back to work for these guys, and that's, they love to work, and so that was kind of what the medicine that we needed for that moment. So.
Yeah, and then you blink a few times, and then you're playing for a state championship. So what was that like to be able to? How surreal was that to get this team to the state championship series and be able to go out there to Statesboro and play for that?
It was amazing. Once in a lifetime up to this point so far to be able to do that. even winning some college championships, this was harder, you know, to make this run and to go 5 weekends in a row, having to beat really good teams, 2 on the road, some being down, you know, being down in 3 of the games in that, and having our backs against the wall at Pepperell, and then the rain delays and all that stuff. So it was just, it was one of the most challenging things, but most satisfying things that I've ever experienced as a coach, and hopefully something we'll get to experience again.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and your team was anchored by just a solid lineup top to bottom, and then of course your star pitching trio that you had there too. So what's it like as a coach being able to have 3 great pitchers to go to kind of headline the rotation, and then have a lineup that anybody can come up with that big hit?
It was great. I mean, our pitching, those 3 guys in particular, and you can't, you know, obviously Cole and Chase and Andrew all pitched incredibly well in the playoffs. And you can't forget about Caden's outing at Pepperell either, because that was game 3, and we didn't know what we were going to get, but he went out there and gave us almost 5 great innings where he just threw strikes and gave us a chance to win. But to have those 3, you know, those 3 guys predominantly throw every inning in the playoffs was big, and they managed pitch counts. And we put Cole in a different role, you know, but we knew we had to get our best arm at the end of the game, and so he did a great job with that. And then, like you said, with the lineup, obviously it's a different hero every night, it felt like, in the postseason. So, you know, I think, one series it would have been our top of the order, but then, you know, Pepperell and Kings Ridge, David Dutery in the 8-hole just was incredible, you know. And so to be able to have somebody like that, with that caliber of a hitter that deep in the lineup, is obviously makes your lineup pretty dangerous. So.
Pretty cool. Let's rewind a little bit to playing at Corey Field just in general. What was that? Also add that experience into what this dream season was. How cool was that to be able to play on a big league field?
That was great, and actually just reach out to him again this week to hopefully be able to do that again next year. I think it just gave us a big game experience. You know, your heartbeat's going to be a little faster in that situation. Doesn't matter who you're playing. You know, when you go into that stadium and that field, it's gonna, you know, you're gonna sense that the magnitude of the environment, and so in a way probably got us ready for the postseason. Got us ready to go, you know, to Pepperell in a big environment, or to, you know, to Kings Ridge or to Statesboro. You know, I think that really helped us, and it was just awesome. So to be able to be there and to play on that surface was great.
Yep. And we'll end with this one, but I know that one of the mottos or mantras you had all year was growth. Talk about how that originated and sort of what the message was behind that, and how this team embraced it.
Well, I think after last season, we knew we had some good players, and we knew we had some potential to really take the next step this year. But I didn't want to think it would happen by accident. And so, you know, our last season, it's probably part of the reason we were ranked so low is, I mean, we didn't make any noise at the end of the year last year. We were shut out our last 4 games. We went to Darlington and played bad. You know, we lost 11-0 and 10-0. And so I felt like in order to take that next step, we have to be pretty intentional about it. And we need to have something that everybody knows what we stand for. Everyone knows what the expectations are. Everyone, you know, if someone asks one of our guys what it means to be a TFS baseball player, they would say, this is what it means. It means gratitude, respect, ownership, we over me, toughness, hunger. And so we were talking the other day, like, you know, is that going to stick? And, you know, for the future, and absolutely, that's who we're going to be always. What those words mean may be different from year to year, but those are going to be our core values every year. And so we kind of looked at that at the end of last year, and what did we need to do? We needed to grow. And so we wanted to define what that meant, and it kind of all came together pretty seamlessly. Myself and our coaches really, you know, kind of worked on it, and we're able to just, you know, and guys rallied around it. I mean, I've never seen a group, just because we put the words on the wall doesn't mean anything, right? But I've never seen a group embrace that and go in 9 months from where they were then to where they are now. So all praise and all credit goes to our players for not just seeing that as something the coaches were telling them to do, but actually embracing it and letting that be a part of who they are. So.
Well, congrats on an incredible, magical season, and let's do it again next year.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
All right.
Oh, I forgot to record.